All right, so get this right. Sony's making a Helldivers 2 movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that game. That crazy co-op shooter where you're like fighting these crazy aliens, all in the name of Super Earth.
All right.
Which, let's be real, might not be as perfect as they want us to think.
Yeah.
So we're biting into this IGN article that just came out like right after this CES 2025 press conference.
Uh-huh.
And I gotta say, there are like way more questions than answers right now.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because like they just dropped this huge announcement with barely any information.
Right.
No director attached or anything. No cast mentioned.
Nothing.
Not even like a basic plot outline. Just that Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions are going to, team up for this thing.
It feels very strategic. Like they're trying to get everyone hyped up.
Oh, for sure.
Especially because like at the same event, they also announced a Horizon Zero Dawn movie and a Ghost of Tsushima anime.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like Sony's just going all in on adapting all these like big PlayStation games.
It really does. It's almost like they're trying to create like this whole cinematic universe,
Right.
And they're using all these games, as their foundation.
Makes sense, though.
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
these games already have
totally.
such a great stories, amazing graphics, and, characters that players already love.
Yeah, and speaking of loving a game, this Helldivers 2 game, it is a smash hit.
Yeah.
I mean, they've sold, get this, 12 million copies.
Whoa.
In just 12 weeks.
Wow. That's incredible.
It's the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game, like, ever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And like, that's not even taking into account like the resurgence in popularity since the, what was it called? The Illuminate update?
The Illuminate update. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that added the whole new faction to fight.
Yeah.
That one it's crazy.
So there's this like technologically advanced group, right?
Yes.
But their like motives are super unclear. Which has led to a ton of speculation, like in the Helldivers community.
Among the players, yeah, totally.
And I feel like that update specifically could be like a gold mine for the movie, right?
For sure.
I mean, just think about the possibilities.
Yeah.
A totally new enemy, with advanced tech, maybe even some twists where they're not actually the villains they seem to be.
Absolutely. It definitely, expands the narrative potential.
Totally.
Especially when you think about, like, the factions that are already in the game, right? You got the bug-like Terminids, those robotic automatons, and now, like, this wild card is thrown into the mix.
Right.
It's going to be interesting.
And we can't forget that the game was like heavily inspired by Starship Troopers.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a classic, sci-fi film. That's like both this crazy action flick, but also like a really sharp satire of, militarism.
Yeah.
So that's got to play a role in the adaptation somehow, don't you think?
I think so, yeah. For sure, because like both the game and the film kind of play with this idea, right, of like
fully
a society that looks utopian on the surface, but it's built on like this foundation of propaganda and everyone just blindly following orders, And remember that phrase from the game, managed democracy?
Oh, yeah.
Like super creepy.
So
right?
creepy. Like you're out there blasting these aliens, feeling like a hero. But the game, like, does a really good job of making you question whether this super Earth you're fighting for is really all that super.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious how the movie's going to handle that, like, satirical edge.
Well, I think that's like the tricky part, right? Like, if they go too heavy on the satire, they might alienate, like, people who just want, like, a straightforward action movie.
Right.
But if they ignore it completely, they kind of lose what makes Helldivers, unique and special.
It's that balance of humor.
Yes.
And like super intense action.
Absolutely.
That makes it so good.
Yeah.
It's like you're laughing 1 minute and then the next you're dodging friendly fire.
Yeah.
It's a delicate dance.
It is.
And speaking of delicate dances, adapting video games for the big screen, right?
Yeah.
It is notoriously difficult.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, there's a long history of flops and just missed opportunities.
Totally.
But then you have, like, recent successes, like The Last of Us, that show that it can be done and done well.
Yeah.
When the filmmakers, like, actually understand the source material and can find a way to translate it like creatively into a movie.
Yes, exactly.
So what does that even mean for Helldivers 2? Right? How do you take a game that's all about like co-op gameplay, frantic firefights and all that strategic decision making, and turn it into a compelling 2-hour film?
Well, that is the question, isn't it?
Right.
$1 million question.
Yeah.
But one thing, is for sure.
Yeah.
They can't just like rehash the game's plot or just string together a bunch of cutscenes.
Right.
It needs to be like a movie that can stand on its own, like with characters that we care about.
Yeah.
And a story that actually resonates.
Absolutely. So we need a narrative that dives into like the complexities of Super Earth and all those like moral dilemmas that the game kind of hints at.
Yeah, like, are the Helldivers actually the good guys?
Right.
Or are they just pawns in some like bigger game?
Ooh. Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely something ripe for exploration.
Cool.
And don't forget about, the alien factions.
Yeah. Like the film could really dive into like their origins, their motivations, and actually turn them, from like mindless monsters into something more like nuanced and maybe even sympathetic.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like imagine a scene where we see the war from the aliens' perspective.
Yeah.
And suddenly those like bugs that we've been, happily obliterating become something more relatable.
Totally.
Even tragic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like that could add a whole new layer of like depth and complexity, right?
Totally.
That elevates the film beyond like your typical shoot 'em up alien invasion story.
Right. Okay. I think we're like getting somewhere.
Yeah.
We've got, a story that could be really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
These morally ambiguous characters and just like a whole universe of creepy crawlies.
Yeah. And killer robots to play around with.
So much potential, right?
Yeah. But we haven't even like touched on how they're going to like adapt the gameplay.
Right.
That frantic energy of like cooperative play, and those split-second decisions that can mean like life or death for your squad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you even translate that into a movie?
Yeah. How do you even...
Without it feeling super clunky or forced?
That's going to be a tough one.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll be tackling in part 2.
Oh, okay. All right.
Of our deep dive. So stick around because things are about to get really interesting.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome. All right, welcome back to the deep dive. So we're like right in the middle of this Helldivers 2 movie announcement.
Yeah.
And like we were just saying, figuring out how to adapt that crazy, co-op gameplay.
Yeah.
It's a real challenge, man.
It is a unique challenge, yeah.
It is.
Because you think about, like, those moments in the game when you're, totally pinned down and you're, like, desperately calling for revives or trying to coordinate, like, a stratagem strike with your squad. Like, those are the moments that, like, really get your heart racing.
Totally.
And they're what make Helldivers, like, so compelling.
Yeah.
But how do you, how do you translate that to film?
Right. Like in the game, you're literally pressing buttons, right? You're like coordinating these attacks, feeling that adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But how do you make the audience like feel that without just showing them a bunch of people like huddled around controllers?
Yeah, you don't want to just see a bunch of thumbs, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's about finding like cinematic equivalents for those, gameplay mechanics.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on like the literal button presses, the film could really highlight, the emotional dynamics within the squad.
Okay.
So like show us the bonds that form under fire, that unspoken trust, the split-second decisions where one teammate, sacrifices themselves to save the others.
So you're saying like really leaning into those human elements, right? Those moments of courage, fear, and just like the sheer absurdity of fighting these like hordes of aliens with just your like, your wits and a few stratagems.
Exactly. Like think about a scene where, the squad's trapped, surrounded by those horrifying terminids.
Oh God, yeah.
Those bug-like aliens from the game.
Yeah.
The film could like show us their faces, their reactions, that desperate scramble to call down a stratagem while they're like low on ammo. Like it could be really intense.
Ooh, I like that. you could even use like the stratagems themselves, right?
Oh, absolutely.
To create like some truly cinematic action sequences.
For sure.
Like imagine, right, like a slow motion shot of a Helldiver calling in an orbital laser strike.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it just like vaporizes this swarm of bugs and like debris is raining down.
It'd be awesome.
Oh, man. Yeah. I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's about, really using the visual language of film to like capture the essence of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like a literal translation, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe the filmmakers will like invent totally new mechanics.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Or like visual elements that work, you know, specifically for the film.
But that's an exciting thought.
Yeah.
Like something that just like enhances the intensity of those co-op moments.
Yeah.
You know, gives the audience a taste of what it feels like to be, a Helldiver on the front lines.
Exactly. It's about, finding those creative solutions.
Yeah.
Those unexpected like twists that make the adaptation feel fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
But also like stay true to the spirit of the game.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And speaking of staying true to the game, right? We can't forget about like the story itself.
The story, yeah.
The game's got that basic, setup, fight the aliens, defend Super Earth.
Yeah.
But there's so much more like beneath the surface.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
There's like a whole layer of social commentary, like that satirical critique of militarism and, blind patriotism. Like that phrase, managed democracy.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like Orwellian, right? Like in its implications.
Yeah, it's like they took that like propaganda from Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
And just like cranked it up to 11. Like you're out there, fighting for this supposedly perfect society.
Right.
But like the game is constantly, hinting at all these like cracks in the facade.
Showing you, that things aren't quite what they seem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the film, I think, could really lean into those darker themes.
Yeah, for sure.
Like those moral ambiguities.
Right.
Imagine a scene, right?
Yeah.
Where the Helldivers like stumble upon like evidence of like Super Earth's atrocities.
Oh, wow.
Right. Like maybe like a hidden facility
where
where they're like experimenting on like alien prisoners.
Oh, that's dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it suddenly makes that like line between good and evil super blurry.
Totally. Yeah.
Like are our heroes, really fighting for the right side?
Right.
Or are they just like perpetuating like a cycle of violence and oppression?
It's a good question.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Ooh, that's good. I like that.
It'd be interesting. Right.
And we can't forget about the aliens.
The aliens themselves,
right.
Of course.
We got Terminids.
Yeah.
Automatons. And now that mysterious Illuminate faction, like the film could really dive into.
Yeah.
Like their origins, their motivations, fleshing them out.
Yeah.
Beyond just being cannon fodder.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like it would add a whole new like layer to the conflict, and make it more than just like a simple like us versus them thing.
Right.
Like maybe the aliens aren't actually the villains. Maybe they're just like trying to survive, protect their own worlds from like this relentless expansion of Super Earth.
And now that is a twist I would love to see.
Yeah.
Like it just flips the script on the whole like alien invasion trope.
It makes you question, like who are the real bad guys here?
Yeah, totally. And it could like open up possibilities for like some really interesting character dynamics, right?
For sure.
Like imagine a Helldiver who starts to like sympathize with the aliens and like question Super Earth.
Right, like starts to see things from a different perspective.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could lead to like some intense internal conflict.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe even like a betrayal,
Absolutely.
of their own squad.
It'd be really interesting to see how that plays out.
Ooh, man, that's juicy.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it.
It's all about, like layering those complexities, those like moral gray areas to create like a story that's both thrilling,
Yeah.
and also like makes you think.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a potential plot like brewing here. Right. we've got moral dilemmas, we've got like the alien perspectives, and we've got enough action to make Michael Bay like blush.
Plenty of explosions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like, who's going to direct this thing?
Right. That's the big question, isn't it?
It's like, who's the director out there that can capture like the humor, the action, and the like social commentary?
Yeah, it's a tough job.
Of Helldivers.
It is. Yeah, who could do it all?
Right.
It's a good question.
So let's have some fun with this, right?
Okay, yeah.
Let's dreamcast our ideal director for Helldivers 2.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah. All right, so if we're talking about someone who can blend like action with social commentary, right? I'm immediately thinking Neil Blomkamp.
Oh, yeah, right. Good one.
He's known for his like gritty, realistic sci-fi, like District 9, Elysium, like movies that aren't afraid to like tackle those like tough questions and those complex themes. He can bring that like raw, visceral style to the world of Helldivers.
Yeah, for sure.
Like showing us the horrors of war, but like not shying away from the absurdity of it all.
Right.
Plus, he's got experience working with like aliens and creatures, which is obviously a must-have for this project.
Essential.
Yeah, he could nail like that Helldiver swagger, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he could handle like the comedic timing too, which is like essential.
Yeah, for sure.
Like imagine him delivering one of those classic lines from the game, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, remember, citizens, every bug you squash is a victory for freedom.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right. Okay, so Blomkamp's in.
All right, Blomkamp's in.
Now, I think we need someone to play like the second in command, right?
Yeah.
Like someone who's a little more by the book.
Yeah.
Maybe even like questioning the whole managed democracy thing.
Right, someone who's not quite sold on the propaganda.
Yeah, someone with like some internal conflict.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely.
Someone who challenges the leader, but is still ready to like blast some bugs.
When duty calls, yeah.
Duty calls, yeah.
Yeah.
I think someone like Gugu Mbatha-Raw could be really good for that.
Oh, interesting.
Right. She's got that intensity, that ability to convey both strength and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Which we saw in like the morning show, Loki.
Oh, yeah. She's fantastic in those.
Right.
She'd be great.
Like she'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
As that like voice of reason within the squad.
Yeah.
The one who's like starting to see the cracks in Super Earth's like whole facade.
I like it. I like it.
I can already imagine like the tension between her and like Carl Urban's character.
Oh, that'd be good.
Like having those like heated debates about like loyalty, freedom, and whether accidentally squashing a teammate with a mech like is forgivable.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, we got our leaders. Now, every squad needs that one wild card, right?
Yes.
That, like, unpredictable element who brings the chaos.
Absolutely. Someone who's a little, like, unhinged, maybe a little too enthusiastic about, like, the whole freedom through superior firepower thing.
Yes. And makes you laugh.
Yeah.
While they're like raining down explosive mayhem.
That's a good one.
I got it.
Okay.
Danny McBride.
Oh, perfect.
Right. He could bring that like over the top energy.
Oh, absolutely.
That like, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah.
You know?
He'd be perfect.
Which would make him like hilarious and terrifying.
Oh, totally.
At the same time.
Like imagine Danny McBride behind the controls of a Hellpod.
Oh my God.
Yelling, you know, freedom as he like accidentally obliterates an entire friendly outpost.
Oh, that's so good.
Like it would be
oh my God.
Pure comedic gold.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And like he can play those like quieter moments too.
Oh yeah.
You know?
He can do it all.
Like those little glimpses of like humanity underneath all that, like bravado.
Absolutely.
Oh, he would bring so much depth to that role.
He would be great.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our leader.
Okay.
We got our voice of reason. We got our agent of chaos. What are we missing?
Well, every good squad needs like a tech specialist, right?
Really? Oh, the brains.
The brains of the operation.
Yeah.
Someone who can, you know, hack alien systems.
Yeah.
Call down those crucial stratagem strikes. Maybe, you know, even deliver a few snarky one-liners.
Oh, yeah.
While doing it.
You know, someone with both, like brains and charisma.
Right. They got to be able to, like, you know, hold their own.
Yeah.
with the rest of the squad.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ooh, what about Justice Smith? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. We saw his, like, tech skills.
Yeah.
And quick thinking and Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
And, like, the Jurassic World movies.
Oh, yeah. Good call. He could totally pull it off.
Right.
Yeah.
He could totally nail that blend of intelligence and, like, nervous energy.
Yes.
That makes, like, a great tech specialist.
Absolutely.
I can already picture him, like, frantically typing away. Yeah. Trying to outsmart, like, the alien AI. And maybe even, like, rigging a few extra explosives to those stratagems for good measure.
Just to be safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we got our core squad.
All right, so we got
Karl Urban leading the charge.
Karl Urban.
Gugu Mbatha-Raw.
Yeah.
Questioning everything.
Yes.
Danny McBride just...
Causing mayhem.
Causing, like, delightful mayhem.
Delightful mayhem.
And Justice Smith keeping them all from blowing themselves up.
Keeping everyone alive.
With, like, a stray stratagem. I mean, that's a team I would watch.
That's a solid squad.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cast that can, like, handle the action, the humor.
Yeah.
And the emotional depth.
Emotional weight. Yeah.
Of Helldivers.
For sure.
But there's, like, one more crucial piece of this puzzle that we got to talk about. Yeah. The tone.
The tone, yes.
Of the film.
Very important.
Like, we've touched on it before, but, like, it's so important.
It is.
It deserves its own, like, discussion.
Absolutely, because, like, the game itself, it walks this, like, tightrope between, like, intense action and, like, biting satire. Yeah. You know, so will the film, you know, really lean into that, like, over-the-top propaganda and humor? Or will it take a more, like, serious approach?
That's the question. Right.
It is the big question. Yeah. Because, like, if you lean too hard into the satire, you know, you risk alienating audiences who are just looking for, like, a fun action movie. Yeah, yeah. But if you play it completely straight, you lose that, like, unique flavor that makes Helldivers, you know, so special.
So special.
Yeah.
It's a tough balance.
It is a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And a lot will depend on, like, the director and the script. Yeah. But I think they could, you know, use the narrator from the game, you know, that voice that's constantly, like, glorifying violence and manage democracy in this, like, really absurdly cheerful way.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Like, having that voiceover throughout the film, it would be, like, a constant reminder of that satirical undercurrent.
Exactly.
Even during, like, the most intense action sequences.
Even when things are getting, like, really crazy. Yeah. You know, you've still got that voice there in the background, just, like, reminding you of, like, the bigger picture.
Totally, totally. Yeah. It would be like a Greek chorus, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just, like, commenting on the absurdity of the whole situation.
Absolutely.
And adding that layer of, like, humor and social commentary without sacrificing the, like, tension.
Exactly.
And it would just lead to, like, some really brilliant comedic moment.
Oh, for sure.
Like, imagine the narrator, like, praising this, you know, particularly gruesome kill while the characters are, like,
struggling to reload.
Yeah.
Dodging friendly fire.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be hilarious.
It would be so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the narrator could be, like, a key element in setting the tone.
For sure.
But, like, what about the visuals, right?
Visuals, yeah.
The game has that, like, retro-futuristic aesthetic that's both, like, cool and kind of cheesy.
Right.
You know? Like a 1950s vision of the future, but, like, slightly wrong.
Yeah, like a little off.
Yeah. I think they could really play with that.
Oh, absolutely.
In the film.
Yeah, for sure.
You know those, like, bright colors? Yeah. The, like, exaggerated character designs? Those, like, ridiculously oversized weapons? Yeah. It all, like, contributes to the game's satirical tone.
Totally. Yeah.
It's like they took those, like, tropes of classic sci-fi and just turned them up to 11.
Yeah, cranked it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, imagine those Helldiver suits on the big screen. Like, bulky, impractical, but, like, still kind of badass.
But still cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, the environments.
Oh, yeah.
Right, those alien planets. Like, they could be this mix of familiar, you know, and outlandish blending, like real-world locations.
Right.
With these, like, bizarre, almost like cartoonish alien landscapes.
Yeah. It's a cool visual style.
It is, yeah. It's that like blend of the familiar and the absurd that makes it like so visually unique. You know? Yeah. It's like they're saying, we're taking this sci-fi action seriously. But not too serious.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the key, I think, to like getting the tone right.
Okay.
Like, don't be afraid to poke fun at the genre, to embrace those like over-the-top elements, but also like, you know, deliver those like really intense action sequences and moments of like genuine emotion. You know? It's a balancing act.
It's about finding that like sweet spot, right?
Yes.
That perfect blend of humor, action, and like social commentary that made the game like such a hit.
That's what made it work.
Yeah.
And if they can pull it off.
Yeah.
You know, the Helldivers 2 movie could be something like truly special.
Welcome back, Deep Divers.
Yeah.
So we've spent like the last 2 parts, you know, really dissecting this whole Helldivers 2 movie announcement. And we talked about everything from like potential directors to like how they're going to actually capture that crazy, like, you know, co-op action on the big screen.
This is a big challenge.
Huge challenge.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to, like, I think the most exciting part of any adaptation.
Right.
Casting.
Casting.
Like, who is going to actually play?
Who's going to bring these characters to life?
Yeah, who's going to embody those, like, brave, you know, slightly trigger-happy soldiers fighting for managed democracy.
The defenders of Super Earth?
Yeah, this is where we get to, like, unleash our inner casting directors.
Yeah, let's have some fun with this.
And dream big.
Yeah.
Like, we need actors who can, like, not only handle, you know, the physicality of those, like, intense firefights, but also, like, the humor.
With the humor.
And the camaraderie.
Yeah, that's important.
That make Helldivers so special.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance, right? Yeah. Like, you know, these characters are, like, soldiers. Yeah. They're facing these, like, terrifying alien threats.
Yeah.
But the game, like, you know, doesn't shy away from poking fun.
Totally.
At the absurdity of it all.
Right.
Especially, like, the propaganda that fuels Super Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, freedom through superior firepower.
Yeah, for the good of mankind.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need actors who can deliver those lines, right?
Yes.
With a straight face.
Yeah.
While, like, dodging plasma blasts.
Yeah.
And, like, strategically relocating alien body parts.
Right.
With, like, a well-placed grenade.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin?
Well, I think we got to start with, like, the heart of any squad.
Okay.
Right? Like the leader.
Yeah, the leader.
Someone who can, like, command the screen.
Yes.
Someone who embodies that, like, mix of, like, grit and, you know, that gallows humor.
Oh, yeah.
That the game has.
Someone who can, like, bark orders 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then, like, accidentally trigger a friendly fire incident the next.
Yeah.
All while keeping, like, a totally straight face.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, I'm already, like, picturing Karl Urban for this.
Well, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
He's got that, like, tough-as-nails persona.
Yeah, he does.
Like, he can be intimidating and charismatic at the same time.
Yeah, we've seen him.
Rock that, like, sci-fi action hero role in, you know.
Yeah, in Star Trek. Dread. Yeah. He could totally nail that, like, Helldiver swagger.
I think so, yeah. He could definitely pull it off.
And he can handle the comedic timing, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, like, you know.
Essential.
Crucial.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, imagine him delivering that line, you know?
Like, remember, citizens, every bug you squash is a victory for freedom.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right. He'd nail it.
Okay, I'm sold. Karl Urban's are, like, grizzled squad leader.
All right, so Karl Urban's in...
Now we need, like, the second in command, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like, someone who's a little more by the book.
Yeah.
Maybe even, like, questioning the whole, like, you know...
Right, like, not totally buying into the propaganda.
Managed democracy thing. Yeah. Like, a character with some internal conflict.
Yes, some moral struggles.
Yeah. Who, like, challenges the leader...
Yeah.
But is still ready to, like, blast some bugs when, you know.
When duty calls.
When duty calls.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, Gugu Mbatha-Raw could be really good for that.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
She's got that, like, intensity, that ability to convey both strength and vulnerability.
Yeah, she's great at that.
Like we saw in the morning show, Loki.
Oh, yeah. She was fantastic in those.
Right. Yeah, she'd be brilliant as, like, you know...
She'd be amazing as, like, that voice of reason.
Yes, the voice of reason.
In the squad.
Within the squad, yeah.
The one who's, like, starting to see the cracks.
Yeah, starting to question things.
In Super Earth's, like, propaganda.
Yeah.
I can already picture, like, the tension between her and Karl Urban's character.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Like, just those, like, heated debates about, like, loyalty, freedom, and whether, like, accidentally squashing a teammate with a mech is, like, a forgivable offense.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got our leaders.
Okay, we got our leadership.
Now, every squad needs. That wild card, right.
Yes. That loose cannon.
Yeah, that, like...
The unpredictable one.
An unpredictable element who brings the chaos.
Right. Someone who, like, you never know what they're going to do.
Yeah, like a little unhinged.
Yeah, unhinged.
Maybe, like, a little too enthusiastic about the whole... Like, freedom through superior firepower thing.
Yes. Someone who makes you laugh even as they're, like, raining down explosive mayhem.
Yes. Like, just pure chaos.
Pure chaos, yeah.
I got it.
Okay, who thinking?
Danny McBride.
Oh, perfect.
That's right. He could bring that. Like,
he could bring that energy.
Throw top energy.
That hold my beer and watch this fight.
Yes.
That would make him both hilarious and terrifying.
At the same time?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Like, imagine him behind the controls.
Oh, yeah.
The Hell Pod.
Yeah.
Just, like, screaming, freedom!
As he accidentally obliterates, like, an entire friendly outpost.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
And, like, he can also play those, like, quieter moments.
Yeah, he can do it all.
Those, like, little glimpses of humanity underneath.
Yeah.
All that, like, bravado.
Absolutely.
He'd bring so much depth to that role.
He'd be fantastic.
Oh, man. Okay, so we got our leader.
Okay.
We got our voice of reason. We got our agent of chaos.
Yeah.
What are we missing?
Well, I think every good squad needs, like, a tech specialist.
The brains.
The brains of the operation, right.
Yeah.
Someone who can, like, you know, hack into alien systems, call down those crucial stratagem strikes, maybe even, like, deliver a few snarky one-liners while doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, they got to have the brains and the charisma.
Charisma, yeah. Who do we got?
Well,
who fits that bill? Ooh, what about Justice Smith?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. Like, we saw his tech skills in, like, Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
And the Jurassic World movies.
Right.
Like, that blend of, like, intelligence and, like, nervous energy, that makes a great, like, you know, tech specialist.
Absolutely. He could totally pull that off.
Right. I can already picture him, like, frantically typing away, you know, trying to outsmart, like, the alien AI.
Right.
And maybe, you know, like, rigging a few extra explosives to those stratagems, you know?
Yeah, just to be safe.
Just for good measure.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
Yes, I like it.
Okay. I think we have our core squad.
Okay, so we got...
Karl Urban leading the charge.
Karl Urban.
Gugu Mbatha-Raw questioning everything. Danny McBride causing.
Right.
Like, delightful mayhem.
Delightful mayhem, yeah.
And Justice Smith.
Yeah.
Keeping them all from blowing themselves up.
Keeping everyone alive.
With a stray stratagem.
Hopefully.
Like, that's a team I would watch.
That's a solid squad.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cast that can handle the action, the humor, the emotional depth.
The emotional way of
Helldivers.
Absolutely.
And, like, that's just our dream cast.
Yeah. That's just who we would pick.
Like, who knows who they'll actually choose.
Right. Who knows what the studio's thinking.
But hey, like, maybe Sony's listening. And they'll, like, take a few of our suggestions to heart.
We can dream, Brian.
Karl Urban is the squad leader. I mean, come on.
That's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
And on that note,
I
think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
All right.
But we want to hear from you, Ren.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what are your hopes and expectations for this movie?
Yeah. What elements from the game are you most excited to see, you know?
Yeah.
On the big screen?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Tell us everything.
We'll be, like, checking those out, looking for your thoughts, your theories.
Yeah.
Until then, remember, freedom
is earned,
not given.
Not given.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off.
Yeah.